Hello and welcome back. So something new today, a couple of things. Firstly, we have a studio audience. Say hi. Hi. Yes, so a first for us. And secondly, this is a two-part demonstration. So as you'll see, I already did the first part this morning, and I've been desperate to fix this eye, but Guy wouldn't let me do it unless we were on screen, so I can now get on with that. And it is a good thing to walk away from pieces and not try and do things straight away, fix things straight away, because you kind of get very overwhelmed and obsessed with looking at something. So, but Gary was mean and wouldn't let me.
No, I was thinking of people watching at home who didn't want to miss.
Well, I'm going to fix this eye now, and I'm allowed to. So that is what is going to happen. Also, I've noticed the eyes I've kept very light on purpose, because the first time I did it, I lost that really luscious colours she has in her eyes. But she does need, her eyes are much more hazel. So I need to take the yellowness out. And that's easy with these Pro Colour Derwent pencils. Oil-based means I can easily layer and go over and fix. So I can now fix. I'm going to have them all in my hand because I can't decide on my colours. So when I'm looking at colours, I'm looking at the actual pencil rather than the ends, because that doesn't give me a full correct colour. It's only the actual pencil which will give me the colour I'm looking for. And I was looking for them and I was going, where are my pencils? I didn't realise they're in my hand. So I do tend to hold on to them. So now I'm going to fix the colours a little bit. Again, I'm consciously really thinking about the colour, because last time I did it, I did lose that really brightness. And this eye, pupil was not quite big enough. That's better. I've been desperate to fix that. Just Gary wouldn't allow me to do that.
Amanda says, thank you, Gary, for making Anita wait. You didn't want to miss
Yes, be all on Gary's side. But yes, I know. But you know when you're really keen to do something? And I was really keen to fix. Right. Start to change the colour a little bit, just with the brown, just to bring out the hazel. You can see here it's still got that lovely yellow, and this is, like I say, you can keep going over and constantly moving, but I'm going to darken now, just, and you'll see sometimes it's just those little touches really bring out the pupil. Darken around the edge. She has lovely dark outline. So just darken this slightly. So when you take a photo, you'll get that red eye where your light's being reflected. So I'm over-exaggerating the eye colour. And you'll see when I'm using the colour, I will use the same colour on both eyes at the same time. It's better, so much better now, Gary. I'm happy now, thank you.
Amanda says, thank you for waiting as well, Anita.
Yeah. It was hard. I was so desperate to come back and fix it, but I wasn't allowed. Okay, so I've done the eyes, and I was really interested in getting coloured eyes, and the rest of it is in charcoal. And if you watch the first part, I tested different charcoal pencils. I'm using charcoal because it's nice to handle. It gives you nice, rich colours. But I also wanted to see the charcoal pencils, how they worked. And you've got the light, medium and dark in the Derwent one. And as it says, you get much lighter colour from the light, the medium, and the dark is the darkest. I will use the dark because it just gives me that control for detail. Now, it depends how far I can get with this, because you can keep manipulating, you can keep moving. So I don't know how far I'll get, but I think it'll look fairly finished. And I was looking at some of the highlights, and it's actually, I've got a big screen up there and you can see it a bit better. And I just need to lift out some of the light. Don't like that hair there either, so it's gone. Right, let's get on. Let's start with the charcoal. So actually a hat comes down here, and you can see how I'm actually fixing an area which it didn't work or had not really concentrated. And I'm constantly, before I make a mark, just looking at the original portrait, especially with portraits, because it can be just a tiny touch which helps to correct. Like I said, with that eye, it really wasn't working. And I'm just being really cautious about my lights and darks. Now, I do have erasers. I have a number. I've got the Tombow, a nice white plastic one, and the kneadable. The kneadable one's really nice because it's very kneadable, and it comes in a case, which is good because I will lose things. But the Tombow give me that really nice fine line. So with the hair, I'll probably use it because I will do too much, and I'll need to take it back. And again, I can take back highlights, which is a great thing with charcoal. Okay, so I can see here it's darker, and now I'm going to start to concentrate on the darks, just so I can start to move on. So her hair is actually quite straight, but I want to add a little bit more direction because it's going to look too straight. So this is where you can alter and change things. I also want to grab up the highlights, but she's got quite dark brown hair. So I'm just, again, thinking about what does the drawing look like rather than what does the image look like. And I've got a coloured image, which I've blown up so I can see detail, but I've also got this black and white image, which helps me to see the tonal values because I've manipulated it a little bit in order to get those tonal values, which you've got to think about. So she's wearing a jacket. This is the great thing about charcoal, is you can just use the edge, you can manipulate. I'm using the texture of the paper just to bring out. See, that doesn't look right, it doesn't make any sense. So let's just make it make more sense. She's got creases in the coat. That worked well. And see how quickly you can just use the charcoal to bring out the values. I think that's worked really nicely, quite quickly, unfortunately very quickly. So now I've got to slow.
Do more stuff.
I can do more stuff, I can do indeed. So obviously the light is on this side, so I can just darken, make sure I've got some darker areas. Right, got to. And what I'm doing is also trying to think of different textures. So a coat is going to be a very different texture to a face, where a child's face is really nice and smooth and soft, and it's rounded. And the texture of the coat will have more texture in it. So just using the edge of the charcoal to bring out a little bit more texture. Right, so here I didn't like the hat shape, so I've fixed that, but I do need to think about where are the darkest areas. So under the hat is going to be dark. She's got a few strands of hair. Again, I didn't like the ones I'd put on. So I have more control with a pencil. I'm a little bit more familiar with holding a pencil. And I've probably got quite a small stick, charcoal to be honest. Right, let's move around. So now bringing out the detail under her chin. And it's all behind the face here because this is where the light is hitting. Her face goes in slightly there. And I can come back, I can alter. So she has hair coming down here. I want to give myself a background. Right, so the hat comes round here. And she has some hair, but again this is lighter, which I will need to do afterwards. Right, let's put coat on so I can see a nice dark triangle there and a line here. Say it comes round here. I've tried very carefully and thought about the way I'm moving across, because normally I would just jump around too much, and especially with charcoal and pastel, you do end up very messy. And you also notice I use my hands because I like to feel. You can move, manipulate and feel the charcoal. So I've got tortillon, I've got the artist chamois, which are all great tools for blending, but for me it just doesn't give me that feel. I like to feel what I'm doing, and it also helps me to move. You can see here I can shape. Problem is I get very dirty fingers. Okay, let's reshape this with an eraser. So I've slightly gone overexcited with the face. It's not as smooth as it should be, but I know an eraser will shape this. That's the problem. It's going back in. Let's try a less dusty eraser here. And let's bring out some of this hair as well, this lighter hair. You can see these are great, the Tombow erasers. You can really get some lovely fine detail. And go back in, just bring out the bits that are behind the hair. So here needs a little bit more work. Good, I've got loads of time. So what I will do is, depending on how much time I have and how much I can get done. So under the hat we'll have the darkest shadow. Again, just use my fingers to manipulate. Nose needs a little bit more definition, just darker. And sometimes it can be just very slight alterations, just with the shadow or the line, shape, just very small. Nose down there. I think I just need some shadow there, just to balance. Because I know there's a triangle shadow here, but it makes no sense. So I need to move the lip a little bit. I was quite pleased with how the lips turned out in the end. It's not quite got the shine I was looking for, so I need to add a little bit more value. And this time I am going to use tortillon just to give me that much softer, more controlled. See there how that's just softening so much more, and she's got very soft childlike lips, so I just want to make sure I bring that out and I can draw. Right, so I need it a little bit darker in the middle. It's a great thing with charcoal, as with the pencils, you can layer and you can build up. I'm not going to fix because I'm not one for fixing. I don't like usually to fix a charcoal. And I found that on the whole, the actual charcoal lasts quite well. You may lose some of the darker tones, but you can always put those back again. The reason I don't fix is I feel it does alter the values too much. Okay, so let's see what's happening around here. What I'm doing is also thinking about, does it make sense? What are those lines doing? Okay, let's darken under here. And I can add detail in. Depends how much time I have. Charcoal. So not much, the hair comes round here, and then a lot more of it is the coat. And I'm just desperately trying to keep different textures. This is a cartridge paper, but it's not an ultra smooth cartridge paper. It has some lovely bit of texture, which just helps.
Anita?
Yes.
I have a question. Pat is asking about your artist chamois and what.
The chamois.
Yes.
This is a synthetic version of a chamois a leather chamois you can use to do your car with. It's for blending and softening on the page. I use my fingers, but if I was using a really big area, I'd probably use this, and it's really great for really soft detail. You can see there, actually, look how well that's lifted out. I tend to use my fingers because they're dirty, I can put in values from just the dirty finger. Right. So yeah, that's one tool just for blending. You can see I've used it.
People use it if they're toning.
Yeah.
So
soft.
Put a load of charcoal down and then just tone the whole
Yeah.
of the paper.
It is. It's a really good. Like I say, I actually like to use my fingers. But if I was doing a big area, I probably would, because it does soften a little bit more than your fingers. You can really get very soft. So let's try it in her cheek, where she does need to have really nice soft features. Problem is you can't, because I haven't, with my fingers I can feel where I'm going. I can't see under this so much, but it does create a much softer finish. Right. Dark. She's got a little dimple in her chin. Like I say, for me, it's literally, I just like to feel darker. I'm going to bring some hair into the face a little bit, just so you can see what it is. Now, I've got to do her eyebrows, but she hasn't got very defined eyebrows, so I might do it with the pencil. Just, I'll put them on and I'll probably blend them off a little bit, because she's not got very defined eyebrows as a small child. But you need the eyebrow to focus your face a little bit. Right, I need to darken here because I've lost the eyelid. So just constantly reviewing, looking, going back in. I noticed she had some lovely little eyelashes coming off here. And sometimes it's just that final touch which helps to bring it all together. So under here is a little darker, so let's define that a little bit more. She's got a nice shadow here because the eyes are set back. Definitely much lighter here. So let's try. I'm probably overthinking it. Right, nose. She's got quite strong shadows coming around here. Just, I don't want to overdo it though. And she's got a little button nose. So that means this needs to be a little bit. I don't think that's quite as even as it should be. Can actually see it better on the screen. Why haven't we always had the screen?
We haven't always had a studio audience.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right. So let's. I'm just still looking at my darks. I might not blend this, I might just leave it with the texture. Okay, the hat is darker on this side. Coming round to lighter. I haven't put the detail on yet. I may do. I'll probably have to, because I've got another 15 minutes. But I'm using the edge of the charcoal just to bring out the rough texture of the wool. And I'll probably finish with the hair and add some more highlights. So let's have a look. I've noticed that you get the knitting making this kind of mark where it goes up on these lines. And again, I don't need to overly think about detail unless I've got hours and hours, and then I probably will. I haven't, so I'm just going to really suggest the detail, and because these are quite even, it's quite easy just to make that V shape. Right. And while I'm doing that, I can think about probably that still needs to be darker under here. Just constantly reviewing what you've got either on the image and on the page, because you're not always totally a slave to what is on the page, because the drawing sometimes has to be a little bit stronger. Like the eye colour, I've kept that much lighter than actually you can see from a photo, because a photo is a starting point. It's not actually usually a good representation because the light has taken away all the colours that are actually in the eye. And I just really want to bring out the colours that are actually there. And this is where you can as an artist. Right, now we're getting to the light side. Don't see, for me, that's too even. So I'm just altering the shape a little bit. I know the hat is even, but in my drawing, it just doesn't sit well. Right, let's give that a much more sharpened line. Okay. Now we can start to be a little bit braver. Bring out some lights. Let's try and go back to the smaller one. Right, I can see that actually her hair needs to be darker underneath here because it's behind her face. Maybe I've left that too light.
Probably got about 5 minutes before we need to be wrapping up, Anita.
Okay, I'll just bring out some more hair because it just come over her eyes. Lost the ear a little bit. This is why I like to use my fingers because I can just feel it's darkening. I'm going to use highlights and just darken this side. Can't do it with that hand. Can't cross over. So normally I'd move my page around, but as always, Gary's taped this down. Gary's taped it down. So I'm going to have to use my other hand. Which means this needs to be a little bit darker. Oh, that works. Just giving just different feels. I think this face needs altering a little bit. I'm not going to. I think I'm going to have charcoal over my nose, but right, I'm going to stop there because I will just keep fiddling with it, and I quite like this unfinished area. So coloured pencil to bring out the eyes, and then the charcoal to just, it's a lovely piece to work with, and everything looks better in a frame. So I hope you enjoyed that, and like I say, something new for both of us, having an audience, and for me doing it in 2 parts. So join us tomorrow for a live workshop with Jeremy Ford, and that's bye from me and bye from everybody here.